Hello everyone, my name is Anisha Roy and I'm an intern at Lexis and Company. Through this video, I will be discussing about what is FIR, what are the essentials of FIR and who can lodge an FIR, and further I will also be discussing about what are the essentials and what is FIR on telephone. So let's proceed. What is FIR now? FIR, we all know that it is the first information report. Now why it is so called? Because it is the statement of the information and it is the statement of the informant relating to the commission of a cognizable offence that is recorded under section 154, and that's why it is usually mentioned in practice as the first information report, or say FIR and FIR. The principal object of this FIR is to set the law in motion, or say the criminal law in motion. FIR is such a document that is prepared only in criminal proceedings, and it is a document that places the victim side of the story. And FIR can be lodged in case of cognizable offences only. And now what this cognizable offence is, it is mentioned in section 154 clause 1 of the CRPC that cognizable offences are those offences in which the police officer has the supreme authority of arresting without a warrant and to be able to start an investigation in which, with or without the permission of the court. So, besides this, no FIR can be lodged in case of non-cognizable offences, and like in the case of non-cognizable offence, an NCR, that is non-cognizable report, can be lost. And in the case of TT Anthony versus State of Kerala and others, it was held that information given under subsection 1 of section 154 of CRPC is commonly known as FIR, and through this term is not used in the code, but as its nickname suggests, it is the earliest and the first information report of the cognizable offence that is recorded by an officer in charge of the police station. And section 154 of the CRPC, it also states that every information relating to the commission of a cognizable offence, it shall be, if given orally to an officer in charge of the police station, shall be reduced to writing by him or under his discretion, shall be read over to the informant, and every such information, whether given in writing or reduced to writing as aforesaid, shall be signed by the person giving it, and the substance thereof shall be entered in a book to be kept by such officer in such form as the state government may prescribe in this behalf, provided that if the information given by the woman against whom an offence under section 326A, 326B, 354 AD, 376, 376 AE and 509 of the IPC is alleged, then such information shall be recorded by a woman officer. So this is what our Bail Act says about this section 154 of CRPC, and we can understand that what is FIR under this, and it is totally clear from the plain reading of the Bail Act and of this provision. Now it is also mentioned in subsection 2 of 154 that a copy of the information as recorded under subsection 1 shall be given forthwith free of cost to the informant, and this is what FIR is as per section 154. Now I would like to discuss that what are the essentials of FIR. So let's proceed. FIR, it is an information relating to the commission of a cognizable offence first. Second, it is given by the informant either orally or in writing. Third, if given oral, it should be reduced in writing by the officer in charge of the police station and under his direction, and if given in writing or reduced to writing, shall also be signed by the person giving it. Further, the substance of the information shall be entered in a book in such format and in such form as the state government may prescribe in this behalf, and this book is called General Diary. Fifthly, we can say that in order for the information to be qualified as an FIR, there must be something in the nature of complaint or the accusation regarding the commission of a cognizable offence. Like if it is the information is not in the nature of complaint or accusation, that cannot be classified or qualified to be called an FIR, and it will not, and other proceedings will not be start from that information or the FIR given. Now further, I would like to discuss that what is FIR on telephone, because it is from one of the case in Tohal Singh versus Rajasthan. It was said that if the telephonic message has been given to the officer in charge of the police station, then the person giving the message is an ascertained one or is capable of being ascertained, and the information has to be reduced to writing as is required under section 154, and it is faithful record of such information, and the information discloses commission of the cognizable offence and is not cryptic one, then only it would constitute FIR. So this is how this FIR on telephone is important, that it should not be a cryptic one, because information should be able to be perceived and be understood to be mentioned, and it has all certain characteristics that needed to be fulfilled, and some of the ingredients that are needed to be written down while filing or getting an FIR recorded relating to the commission of a cognizable offence. So we can say that cryptic and ambiguous telephonic message which does not clearly specify a cognizable offence cannot be treated as a FIR, but where there is proper information about the commission of the cognizable offence and it is also reduced in writing by a police officer, then it can be treated as a FIR. Now in last, I would like to discuss that who can lodge an FIR. So this FIR can be lodged by four kind of person. First, by an agreed party or somebody in his behalf. Secondly, any person who is aware of the offence by either being an eyewitness or a hearsay account. Thirdly, by the accused himself. Fourthly, by the SHO on his own knowledge, even when the cognizable offence is committed in the view of an officer in charge, and he can register a case himself. However, he is not bound to take down in writing any information, and even if the information is only by a medical certificate upon arrival of the injured, then the SHO should enter it in daily diary and go to the hospital for recording detailed statement of the injured. So this is how the information is recorded, and FIR is lodged by all these four categories of persons. And that's all. I hope you all understood, and thank you.